Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, September 30th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol NIO. I think this is now the third day in a row I've done this one, but the beast move continues, higher highs and higher lows, and today was a very, very solid way to end the week. So first update is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above. So let's go from red to green. They tend to act as support. I mean, you could throw this right into a textbook. Check it out. Gap up. Look right where it found some support and right where it bounced from this morning on the gap up before a very nice move. So for any of you that watched the previous video and took advantage of that, big congratulations to you. Now, I am going to go ahead and adjust this area of support up to what I would call the ideal level. Maybe say, Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest moving forward? And that would be if the price can stay above 628. Now, don't get me wrong. If the price falls below that level, that doesn't mean the chart's destroyed or ruined or anything like that. But if the price can stay above it, that would certainly be a great sign of power. Taking a step back and looking at all this from the bigger picture standpoint, that's where the purple line there comes into play, the 50-period simple moving average. Keyword definitely being moving. I understand the price is way up here, that this level's down here. But as time goes by, that line's going to move itself higher and higher and get more and more relevant. So from the overarching standpoint, as long as the price is above that purple line, the bulls 100% own the chart. In terms of areas of resistance, nothing fancy here. Literally just a question of where did the party finally stop today? And the party stopped several times right up there around $6.65. So $6.65 will be the main battleground to watch moving forward. But all in all, this thing had a great week, higher highs and higher lows. And from a trend building standpoint, that's the name of the game. Next one, CNEY, and overall, good looking chart here, but keyword there being overall. I understand that if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 3 minutes, well then yes, from that standpoint, the chart looks really, really rough. But big picture wise, overall, got a nice pattern here that's formed, so I want to get this pattern into play. So there's the resistance portion of the pattern. There is the support part, so let's change support to green, and then just to make it easier to see, let's keep it one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big explosion right there. If you golfers try to make it a little bit more visual, put a golf hole down here, and this would be a bull pennant pattern. Now, just because something's in a bullish pattern doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to go up, but it certainly shouldn't shock anybody if this thing decided to go up. So if you like to play pattern breakouts, then this is definitely something to keep an eye on. And again, no guarantees, but more than reasonable to think that the price comes up to the top of the pattern and breaks up through it, that break right there could create additional buying pressure, even if you just want to call it a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if you like this price range, you like bull pennants, certainly keep an eye on it next week. Next one, DUO, and like I mentioned on a previous one, overall the chart's just fine if you're a day trader and you bought right here on that opening 30 minutes, and yeah, had a rough day on it. But big picture wise, higher highs, higher lows, and that is definitely the name of the game. So newest level that I want to throw in just from a kind of a more of a curiosity standpoint, and the ideal level, I mean, hey Clay, what makes this chart look insanely strong? And that would be if the price can stay above that trend line right there. With that being said, if the price doesn't hold above it, not the end of the world, because as I've already talked about in a previous one, we have that 50-period moving average. So as that line moves higher and higher, that's also serving as a trend line for you that's drawing itself. And as long as the price stays above that quote-unquote trend line, then overall the trend is still fully in the bull's favor. So yes, preferably speaking, staying above that level would make the chart look extremely impressive, but not the end of the world if the price does fall below that level. In terms of areas of resistance, main battleground, that stands out to me, still right there around the $1.44 mark. Yes, the price did get up above it, but going back to yesterday, you can see struggled. Once the price fell back below it right there, you can see went right back to basically struggling at that area. That's not to say that $1.44 can never be broken. I'm just saying that apparently the price really is going to need to bring it to A game, because as of right now, the price is struggling quite a bit whenever it gets up there. But all in all, good solid day. Next one, PLUG, and I'm going to go through this one a little quicker because you've already heard me talk about this pattern. So let's just get the pattern drawn into play. We have our resistance right there, and actually as it wasn't quite right. There we go. I just kind of shortcut that one right there. So we have our resistance there. We have our support right there, and just because I can't help myself, let's keep it all one color. So resistance, support, big move up right here, golf hole down here. We have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. But you can't deny the fact that late day today, you can see very, very nice afternoon. Price came down there, found the bottom trend line, and it's been slowly bouncing back upwards. So yeah, can the price move up a little higher? Can it break through the top part of that next week? Definitely grab your popcorn and we'll see what happens. But if you like the price range, you like bull pennants, here's another one to keep an eye on. Next one, Nvda, and this one finally decided to act human a little bit. Now let me be very clear, big picture wise, everything is still perfectly fine. But yeah, it's definitely had a bigger pullback today. I'm going to actually just get rid of those lines right now and just focus on one area from the resistance standpoint, and that is based now on that purple line there, 50 period moving average, just based on the rule that when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So with the price breaking down below it right there, if there is any sort of continued little bounce, because yeah, give some credit where credit's due, nice little bounce right here. But if this bounce is actually going to have any sort of genuine power behind it, that first big test will be, can the price break up through that purple line right there, the 50 period moving average, right now valued at 122.25. In terms of levels of support, newest level to watch closely here is right here at that level, which got relatively close to it, 118.70. So keep an eye on that. But even if the price does fall below there, I still wouldn't say that, the chart is massively destroyed, because you still do have the overarching, very big picture one, moving average that is down there, pink line, the 200 period moving average. Now, if the price comes down there and starts to break through there, then at that point, okay, that starts to become a bigger red flag. Right now, I'd call this a very, very minor red flag that the price broke down below that 50 period moving average, because in all actuality, and this definitely assumes that you have a bigger time frame on things, but you have this pullback here, you have this big upwards move here, and what you ultimately have looking at the past multiple days is a bull flag pattern. Once more, yeah, I get it. If you're a day trader and you bought right there, you don't care about this bull flag pattern. But just keep in mind, from where I sit, presentation standpoint, I'm trying to talk about multiple angles all at once. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box, or if you're watching at my website, there's an area on the webpage here you can use to sign up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one here, ticker symbol TSLA, Tesla, and overall good solid move, and still is making progress and all that, which is great. And the one thing here I'm going to adjust, but keep in mind, what direction is this adjustment being made? And I'm going to go ahead and adjust this area of resistance up to the highs from right there on Thursday, which sit at 261.80. And you saw me adjust that in the upwards direction. So if you are bullish, then that is a good thing. Whenever levels of resistance need to be adjusted higher, that is the type of action you definitely want to see. And I'm going to get rid of that level, because I think an easier way to look at this is we have this nice overall wedge that's formed. So the top of the wedge is indeed that line that I talked about right there at 261.80. But the wedge on the downside is not necessarily a moving average, or excuse me, is not a trend line. It's a moving average, though, that we can use as a trend line. And yeah, you guessed it, that purple line right there, the 50 period moving average. But did a fantastic job yesterday. You can see whenever the price got anywhere close to it, including right there, it held support every time. And now if we just turn this into the same pattern, so there's our resistance, there's our quote-unquote trend line of the downside, and there we have this nice little ascending triangle wedge. So does it need to bounce around a little bit more before finally getting the upwards break? We'll see what happens with it, but Tesla, very popular stock, so that introduces that much more of a talking point of those potential self-fulfilling prophecies. So if you like these scenarios, if you like very, very highly watched stocks such as Tesla, then certainly keep an eye on it. Next one, XPON, and this one is real, in my opinion at least. You are obviously, maybe you see something else that I don't see, or you like to approach things in a different way, totally fine. But in my mind, it's all about that pink line right there, the 200 period moving average, right now valued at 0.07. 0.07, very, very interesting level, because in my mind, it's basically a make or break point. And I say that because I'm not saying this will occur, but for explanation's sake, if the price were to come down there and break down through there, what would that be doing to the price? That would quite literally be putting the price right back inside of this range that it just broke out of. And I mean, not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that make great moves and then go right back to where they were, not exactly a sign of genuine strength. Whereas if the price can stay above that pink line, so it behaves like that and then curls back upwards, now all of a sudden what would you have? Well, you'd have a low right there, you'd have lows down here, you envision those as stair steps. Well, now you have stair steps progressing in the upwards direction. So that's why to me, 7 cents is a make or break level, but it's also a valid level to think that you could get a bounce from. Again, no guarantees, But you can see right here, it was acting as resistance, and now it's just a question of, will that typical rule fall into play? Will that former resistance act as support? So if you like these scenarios, if you like penny stocks, this one is definitely has quite a bit to offer, and it had good solid volume today. Next one, IQ. Talked about this in yesterday's video. Drew out that bull pennant pattern, and you can see had a gap up through the bull pennant and then just ripped and roared this morning. Has pulled back a little bit, but again, from a standpoint of big picture, everything's fine. Not so good if you're a day trader and you chase the price up there. But let's get some things updated here. Let me just get rid of those lines as they serve their purpose for now. So moving forward, ideally, again, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest moving forward? That would be if the price can stay above that trend line right there. But even if the price falls below it, not the end of the world, because we do have that 50-period moving average, which will be continuing to move higher. So from the overarching standpoint, staying above that purple line, that, in my opinion at least, still suggests that the overall trend is plenty in the bull's favor. And then in terms of areas of resistance, actually a couple that stand out. In the very near term, I mean, talk about a tight range that formed all afternoon long. So basically right here about 286, top part of this little pattern right there. And then just from the overarching standpoint, yeah, you have the highs right here where the party officially stopped. But before you really put any emphasis on this one, like I said, in my mind, it's all about, can the price break out through what's, for whatever reason, become a very stubborn, very tight little range here. So we talked about, kind of the wedge pattern previously, but we have a little miniature one of these right here. So uptrend or support, resistance. Can the price get the break to the upside? So definitely keep an eye on it. But big picture wise, the trend remains fully intact. Next one here, ticker symbol UXIN. Monster move today. I would assume there was some sort of news. Honestly, I don't care. I just care about volume and price action. And I can tell right here that something happened, because check out, the volume came pouring in. I mean, something was already going on. Almost like, did some people know? Did these people here, did this volume know that volume was coming? Yeah, I'll put on my tinfoil hat. Just one of those questions that make you go, But anyways, big move up. And now let's map out some of the key levels of support and resistance. So right now, main level, basically the top part of this area right here at about $5.60. And I say about because I'm just trying to split the difference. You had times right here where the price didn't quite go that high, and then you had other times where the price went up. So generally speaking, maybe yours is at 570, 575. That's perfectly fine. But I'm thinking we can all agree that right around this zone right here is where the sellers are currently residing. So keep an eye on that. And then as far as support is concerned, got a nice little trend line right there. And then, yeah, you guessed it in terms of patterns. Resistance, support, big move up, golf hole down here. Have yourselves another bull pennant pattern. I would say the biggest difference here is this one is very, very volatile. So if you don't like super volatile stocks that can move in a hurry in your favor, but also that's a two-sided coin, then you might want to just kind of watch this one from the sidelines. But if it fits your kind of criteria where you love volatile stocks in this price range, you like bull pennants, then this one has a lot to offer, it seems. Next one, Tqqq, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched previous videos, but if you did, hopefully both these lines you remember. Talked about that level up there at 73.50 as a key area of resistance, and you can see that played a role in today's movement. And then I also threw out that trend line right there, and it didn't hit it exactly, but hopefully we can all agree, got very, very close to tapping it right there. So on that note, nothing really new to report. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. Nothing necessarily new to report here in terms of new technical levels, other than just confirmation that, yeah, these levels that I talked about before certainly are going to be very, very important moving forward and play a role in things. But once again, just to kind of reiterate, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. It's all about perspective. Day traders that bought right there or bought right there on Thursday, wanted to sell within 10 minutes, yeah, not looking good for them. But if you do care about the big picture point of view, the trend is still very much so up. Great to see that trend line right there getting respected. So from that angle, I don't see anything to panic about. Now, if on next week the price comes into the trend line and just blasts down through it, okay, then the conversation begins to shift. But as of right now, the overall trend is holding strong. And, that's really all you can ask for, because overall trends holding strong imply that higher lows are being put into play. And that's ultimately what you want to see, assuming you were bullish. So that wraps up the top 10 stocks. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about the tool and how it can and should be used, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. It'll be next week, Thursday, October 3rd at 8 p.m. Eastern time. It is a genuine live event, and I say that because there is a live Q&A. So if you have questions, please bring them, and I'd be happy to answer them live for you. So as always, if you enjoy these top 10 videos, hit that like button, leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching. Take care, and have a great weekend.